So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new edition. We're here for another week here at the RGM Experience Podcast with me, Carl Maloney. How are you doing? All right. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Javier from the Gulps. Hi, mate.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, fine. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome, mate. Where do we find you today?
So I'm home in Kentish Town, Prince of Wales Road.
Oh, okay.
This is where we live. Me and two of the guitar players, Francesco and Juan Carlos.
Yeah.
The bass player used to live here as well, but he moved like a year ago with his girlfriend. So
Oh,
yeah, this is the Gulps house.
oh, so yeah, so we meet you in the Gulps house, and the bass players not in the Gulps house anymore.
No, he got sick of us.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I love the dynamic of bands all living together. I've had a good chat with a band called the Coversets that I just love from Manchester that are doing really well and touring at the minute, and they all
Nice.
live together. I can imagine it being quite an interesting dynamic, not being able to get away from everybody sometimes.
No, it's quite intense. It's quite intense.
Yeah.
Sometimes we got like massive fights, but yeah, we're still here, you know.
Massive fights. Go on.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just especially when we mix alcohol and stuff, and yeah, sometimes things happen. But I think it's just part of life and being in a band, you know. And yeah,
Well, families never run smoothly, do they? And bands can be.
yeah, that's it. That's the thing. Yeah,
There's always
that's the
like an
thing.
interesting dynamic between like families and bands and stuff. There's always,
We love and hate each other.
yeah, yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
Well, I actually saw your band for the first time. Just we had a little chat before we started recording today, and I saw you on, the amazing platform for bands that is Soccer AM.
yeah,
Straight away, I love the tune for one. I just, that just grabbed me by the bollocks and thought, right, you've got a new fan here, mate. Because I just
yeah.
But we'll come to stories of Soccer AM in a bit because I've spoke to a few bands that have played on Soccer AM. There's always interesting stories to come out of that. But just to go back a little bit, I just want to delve into the history of the Gulps a little bit, if that's all right with you, mate.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
well, let's start with you first, Javier. How did you first realize you're one of those creative people in the world?
Yeah, so basically, I was like, well, my mom put me to study piano when I was a 7 years old kid.
Mm.
And I was like not interested at all in music, like not giving a fuck at all in my little town in Rioja in Spain.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, like when I was 14 years old, a friend of mine, like his dad was really obsessed with all the UK music and had lots of vinyls at his house. And sadly his dad passed away that year, and he was showing me some records, and I discovered first time Beatles when I was like
Yeah.
around 14 years old, and that totally blew off my mind. And then I was through Beatles, I went to more bands like the Yardbirds and the Zombies and all Manfred Mann and all this 60s scene.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is like, I don't know, it's like when someone becomes a priest, like they say they got the call of God.
Yeah.
It was the same for me. I got the call of the gods. Like I wanted to be one of them.
So how did you move from the UK from Spain then?
So then, like, I started I was playing tiny bit of guitar, so I started my first band in this little town in Spain with Juan Carlos, the other Gulps guitar player. He was a big fan of Iron Maiden, and it's not like there was lots of like I was in
Yeah.
love with the Beatles. He was in love with Iron Maiden, but the thing is, like, I think we were the only two of us who were really into being in a band, you know.
Yeah.
So we made the band, and we were always dreaming like we need to get the fuck out of here. We need to go to London and do what all these our heroes did, and we can be one of them, you know. In that time, at some point, like I was already like 17, and then Oasis and all the Britpop bands came into our lives, and discovering all those bands, like we were like, yeah, man, definitely we need to really go to London. And we were talking like I was always telling to him, man, if we go to London, Alan McKee is gonna be our manager.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's true. Like it was like that. So yeah, that's how all the things went through, and we were still playing in Spain and all that. But we were like back in the day, like there was no really in our hometown. There was not much going on. I
Yeah.
think now in Spain there are more stuff going on, but back in the day there's not really lots of things going on. And finally, yeah, we did we came to London.
Right. So like looking for as an Englishman looking at Spain for music, I don't particularly see any like exciting an exciting music scene coming from Spain. You know, that could be, you know, absolute bollocks. I don't know. I just don't know
Yeah,
this music scene at all. Talk me through what the music scene is like living there. Is it? I presume it's completely different.
I mean it is, but at the same time, I mean I really love some in the '60s. There were really cool bands. Like I think they were imitating what the English were doing, and they
Yeah.
were doing it in Spanish. But they were really cool. Like you got Los Brincos, Los Bravos,
Yeah.
Los Pequeñiques. Like there were a few bands. Like they were really cool. And there's been always then in the '70s, '80s there was also a really strong punk scene in the Basque Country.
Yeah.
When you got bands like Escorbuto and all that, like they were like pure Sex Pistols and they were full on, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
But in terms of rock and roll, like there's not really much going on. I guess. I even now you got like a couple of bands like they're quite cool and they're doing well in Spain. But I think the Spanish scene is more about maybe fusion with other like kind of flamenco with guitars and
Yeah.
all these modern sounds that we got in these days.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah. So you were always brought up in a house with instruments around you then?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So
And I had massive fights with my mom. I was telling her like, this is what you wanted to do when you were a kid and you didn't do it, and now you want me to do
yeah.
this. I don't give a fuck about the piano. I regret so much now because I was 7 years studying piano and I was really good. And I fucking forgot it. I guess if I sit down and I study for a year, I will get it back. But I really regret about it.
I have a similar kind of regret. I used to be in a brass band when I was a kid. I used to play the tenor horn, and I could read music. And then I turned 16 and just started on the guitar because it's cooler. And then I wish I could still remember how I could fucking read music and be able to play an instrument. It's just it is a big.
I was able to read all the keys and all that.
Yeah. So what do you play now? Do you play anything now? Or you just sing around?
Well, I play guitar, but I play guitar just to write songs. So I play chords and I write songs.
Yeah.
But I'm not. Sadly, I'm not really talented with the guitar. I've been playing guitar for quite a lot of years, but I don't really play solos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I play the chords and I write the lyrics. So yeah.
There you go. So, expressing yourself creatively, then, you know, you mentioned there that you didn't give a fuck about the piano at all, or kind of like instruments at that time. When did the urge start to creep in that, you know, you do want to, you know, crack on with music?
Yeah, that was when I was 14, 15 years old, and I discovered all these English bands, and that's when I was. First time I was meeting Juan Carlos, and we were with the two guitars. Like I was playing chords, he was playing solos, and we were making our first songs. Like we couldn't really speak much English, but we were doing it.
Yeah. Like, how was that with like school friends? How did you get like the community around you to do? Because a lot of bands just say, "Oh, we just did this thing," but there's a story behind just doing this little thing, isn't there? How, you know, what was the community like around you?
In my hometown.
Yeah, well, and yeah, really.
Well, we were four of us. Like it was really different styles. I remember I was the first bass player.
Yeah.
Like he wanted us to make a cover of Fall Out Boy, and I was totally against it. So to piss him off, I was telling him, okay, if we do a Fall Out Boy cover, we will have to make a Ricky Nelson cover.
Okay.
And so there was all this kind of tension all the time going on because it was really different styles, and even on the way we were dressing, like maybe he was dressing more like Fall Out Boy vibe, and I was dressing more like a mod.
Right.
So imagine us on stage, it was a bit weird. But all of us wanted to be in a band, and all of us were dreaming with the idea of being either Fall Out Boy or Rolling Stones, you know. So we were doing that. I mean, at the end, everything went to fuck off, but because it was with the years you grow up and you realize and you take different ways. But I have really nice memories from that time, and people like I was at school like telling to everyone, I'm a rock star, I'm gonna be a rock star, I'm a rock star. And I think it was funny. Even teachers were like, "Yeah, dude, whatever,"
Yeah.
And they were coming to the shows, and the shows were like, yeah, we were feeling we were playing in Wembley. So it
Yeah.
was really cool because we were kids and we had a big dream. And yeah, sometimes I miss that feeling, that innocent feeling. Like now, when you grow up, everything comes more real. And back in the day, when you are doing something like that, you just kind of flying in the moment, no, like really, really dreaming.
Well, there's one thing to have the dream, and then there's one thing to go for your dream and just fucking have it. Moving
Yeah,
to a different country must have been a massive decision to make, financially and everything else that goes along with it.
yeah.
How did you like, how did that part of your life pan out?
Well, in my case, I even went to uni and I studied law and I finished the degree.
In Spain? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I was like, I mean, it was not really difficult for me because the difficult thing would be to not doing it. Like,
Yeah.
it was not really an option. That's the only thing I could do, following my thing. Like something inside me, like that's where I belong, and that's all I can do.
Yeah. And there's one thing for you to have the dream as well, but to have for the other people, the other team, the band members, to all of that same hunger for it is a different matter as well. Because sometimes, bands do develop over time. People's priorities change within the dynamics of a band too, don't they? So things can change all the time. How did you find it? You know,
Yeah,
how
I think like
yeah.
like obviously with the band members in Spain, like it was just me and Juan Carlos, the ones that really decide to let's go to London and do it.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I feel really lucky with the Gulps because we've been we are the same members since we started, and
Mm.
that's quite difficult in bands. And I really believe like once you start changing members, and that gets the thing a bit complicated.
Yeah.
And the more years that we're playing together, the better we play, the more we understand each other when we're playing, and the more you create a band. Because otherwise, if you're just changing constantly members, it's
Yeah.
not really a band. It's like a band is something that you create through the years, and you develop the sound through the years and the confidence. So I feel quite really happy that we're still together, five of us, despite all the fights, all the highs and lows. And we got five of us got really strong personalities, and I guess like all of us have our ego, but still we are together, and we believe in it together, and we want to make it together.
So have you always been the Gulps, or have you had different names through the years? I love this question, by the way, because every band's always had a shit name before you settle on one. Have you always been the Gulps, or have you been?
No, but we've always been the Gulps. Sometimes I remember a few years ago I was with Juan Carlos. We were playing with two other guys, and we did a couple of shows in a band called Drunk Children, but
Yeah, okay,
it never went further than that.
yeah.
But with this one, since we started in London, yeah, it's called the Gulps. The one I was having in Spain, it was called Silence of the Wind.
There we go. There's always a shit name somewhere in the band.
I didn't put the name. It was the Fallout Boy guy who put the
Oh,
name.
okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I love that question just for that reason, because
Yeah.
there's always a little bit of history with that. So just talk us through then the other members that aren't with us today. Talk us through each member and their strengths, and let's be cheeky and ask for their weaknesses. Let's take piss a bit. Let's have a laugh.
Ah, well, let's start with Francesco. Francesco, guitar player, comes from Calabria. Kind of similar story to mine. Like he discovered the Beatles and he was just totally mad about it. And he always says like when he was 14 years old, he told his dad like apparently Paul McCartney was playing in Rome, and he told his dad, "Papa, you really come on, you need to take me to Rome and go see Paul McCartney." And the dad told him, "No, we don't have the money to go and do it." And he said, "Okay, we don't go, but you buy me my first guitar, my first electric guitar."
Yeah.
And that's how he got the first electric guitar.
Oh, nice.
And then life somehow put him in London because he works in Borough Market at the selling products from Calabria. And we met at a music colleague in Kilburn in the ICMP it's called. And really soon we had the feeling of because me mainly when I came to London my first year I was washing dishes and I was not really meeting people, so I went to the ICMP
Mm.
to study a guitar, electric guitar chords, and I don't really know how to play guitar. But when they just meet musicians, so that's how I met the other guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, Francesco is he's a lovely guy, and really like he learned from the beginning to now. He became such a good guitar player. He improved so much through the years, and he locks down in his room every night and just study guitar.
Wow.
He also is like people really love him, so he's got that thing like everyone falls in love with him. And his weakness, I don't know what to say about his weakness. I would say like
Anything cruel, just something different or whatever, you know.
sometimes he's too stoned.
Oh yeah, what for gigs and stuff?
Yeah,
Okay, fair enough.
he doesn't listen at rehearsals. We said something, and then when he's playing, he didn't realize because he was too stoned.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And the rest of the band?
So then Juan Carlos, yeah, Juan Carlos is the one who started with me from the beginning since we were kids. I guess his strength is his capacity to don't give a fuck about things,
Yeah.
and his weakness probably is also his strength sometimes.
Yeah. No, I like it.
But he's an amazing producer. He's the producer of the band, kind of. On all bands,
Everybody
probably
needs that
one.
kind of character around them, don't they? You know, like somebody that just don't give a shit, just like
Yeah.
let's do it our way and like fuck the industry. You know, let's whatever decisions
Yeah.
clouded by other people in the industry. You know, they're the kind of people that keep you focused and keep you real. I suppose those type of characters in the band. I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's really talented with the computer recording and comes with really good ideas when we're making demos with cool things that then we might use on studio, might not, but it's really cool. Yeah. So I guess that he's the little genius in production.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll become a big producer through the years. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Then we got Raul, our drama comes from Lebanon.
Oh, I'm always
Rastaman.
more stories.
His strength, I would say, like he's obsessed with the music, with like he just cares about the music and about getting the things right musically rather than taking care of other things in terms of business and stuff like that. He's really obsessed with getting it right musically, and I think that's really important because if you don't get it right musically, you can move forward to the next step. And his weakness, I would say sometimes he's a bit moody, maybe, yeah.
Bit moody. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Love it. And anybody else?
And then we got Simon, the bass player.
Right.
His strength, I would say, is respect. He's really, yeah.
Mm.
He's like, he's always respecting us. He takes things seriously.
Mm.
And his weakness, I would say, he doesn't shave every time I tell him we got a live show. You need to shave.
Okay, fair enough. So he's got the beard.
Like Soccer AM. You see on the live, like he's not safe. I was telling him 2 hours before, like 20 times. Please shave. He didn't. Yeah.
So it sounds like it. You know, there's a lot of different characters in there with different strengths, and
yeah, we all like. I guess like we are all a bit fucked up, 5 of us, and it's really like we really have to appreciate that even though we are that fucked up in the sense like we can fight a lot sometimes and all that, that we really love each other and we got the capacity to no matter what happened, like we're together and we're still going, you know.
And what's your strength and weakness then?
My strength, I would say, my obsession. And my weakness, might be my obsession as well.
Yeah. So yeah, it can be a strength and a weakness sometimes, can't it?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. You know, all those characteristics that you've mentioned there, all through history, you've found in the bands that, you know, that stick together and make it
I know,
in this
I know.
in the hardest industry in the world, in it, the music industry. So you all got to London. The Gulps happened. How did your journey as a band, like, where did you get like your first opportunity as a group? Who in London's helping out these bands that are just starting off?
I think our first opportunity, it came through an Italian guy. Like now he's like a dad for us. He's our London dad, Renato. Like out of the blue, he's fucking mad. He said like he said he saw our show announced on the Guardian
Yeah,
at the to play at the Monarch 6 months after making the band. We never been announced on the Guardian,
yeah,
but he was there, and he works with Youth,
right,
the producer.
yeah,
So yeah, Youth and Renato are the first two persons kind of like Youth as a massive one in the industry, big producer, like us being no one. They believe in us, and he gave us the chance and went with us on studio and record the King's House.
yeah. So the recording started to happen. You people around you quite. It seems to be moving quite quick at this stage. Then, do you reckon? Does it feel like things are moving nicely, or you're still frustrated with, you know, you're not,
Well,
not
there's
you?
a bit of
Yeah.
there's a bit of both.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult to be fair with yourself and feel all these things are because yeah, sometimes you want it all, you want it now, you know.
Definitely.
And sometimes you feel you've been doing this for ages, but in reality it's not for ages, and we've been moving quite quick in
Yeah.
the terms like in few years, and in terms of like 5 years, counting 2 years for pandemic.
Mm.
Like we got first Youth, then we managed to go to New York and play festival in New York just before pandemic started.
Yeah.
Then all pandemic we were together making songs and rehearsing every day. We went out of pandemic, getting Alan McKee as our manager. Since then, Steve Strange got us on X-Ray touring agency, and now we got a massive agent, Josh. Mike Smith came see us, loved the band, gave us a publishing deal,
Nice.
then a service deal, like it's kind of a record deal. So yeah, it's like it's fucking amazing for boys like me personally. When I came to London, I couldn't speak much English, to be honest,
Yeah.
and I was just dreaming about being a rock star and making a band,
Yeah.
and it's happening, and now yeah, things are going great, but sometimes it's like we're still working at the pub.
Yeah.
Council taxes.
Yes.
Bailiffs were coming home yesterday to pick
Yeah.
up all our stuff because of council taxes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to get more festivals, for example, in Sama, or to get more playlists on Spotify that you don't get. But so in those moments, you can get a bit like, what the fuck, you know, like what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Is it going well? It's not going well. But I guess it's part of the journey, and we need to just keep going.
It is, mate, and I speak to many bands because I live in Manchester and I've got a gig on tonight, I'm just really looking forward to having some local bands on in Manchester tonight. And the one thing that I do see quite a lot from bands, as soon as they sell out a tiny little venue, they kind of think they've made it by selling out
No.
one gig, and it's really short-sighted and really naive to think that because you've sold out a gig to your friends and your family,
Yeah, I know.
that the band's taking off. There's quite a lot of there's still quite a lot of that I see out there. Have you got any tips for bands that might be thinking that way? That could
Man, I would say like, no, man, you made it when you had like Glastonbury, you know, like that's a goal.
Mm,
That's when you make it,
yeah,
and it's fucking tough, and but it's tough, but you just need to. I really believe in that. I really believe like all my life I did, and I think universe is with me in that sense. Like if you really believe in it, and if you are obsessed with it, if you really push it, you'll make it, you know.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so that's what I would say. And like, yeah, don't get too excited about things.
yeah.
Just anything that happened, take it like a yeah, I made this, but it's not enough. You need to really keep pushing.
Yeah, well, as an artist yourself, how do you manage the madness that's going on around you? So you mentioned, it's quite a dynamic house that you live in. All the band are in there. It can be quite an intense environment.
Yeah, well, it's
How do you manage
difficult.
that
Like,
work, the band gigs, the tour that you got coming up to? How do you personally like manage it and keep saying through it all?
I mean, it's really difficult. Like, as I told you before, like, it's been 2 months I'm not drinking alcohol because
Yeah,
I was having like, at some point, I was having kind of panic attacks on the hangover. And I think it was like
yeah.
a mix of everything, a mix of the pressure of the band and maybe too many hangovers and
Ah,
too many questions in my mind of, are we doing things right and all that. So, I mean, it's quite difficult. It's not easy at all.
no,
But I guess, like, what else can I do? You know,
yeah.
you need to keep going. You need to take care of yourself. Like, if you feel bad, you need to find a way to feel better.
Mm.
And it's life.
So just stopping the booze, I presume that's made you more productive and
Yeah, I stopped the booze. I'm full on into meditation. I kind of changed some habits of my life.
Mm.
Even coffee. Before I wake up really early always, and my routine was like waking up at 7 in the morning and take the guitar, write tunes, or go in the email and answer some emails while I have like 5 coffees in an hour and 10 cigarettes. And maybe I woke up a bit hungover from the night before because I have a bottle of wine or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess you need to change some habits and ask for help if you need it. And
Mm.
yeah,
There's nothing stopping you. There's nothing stopping the success of this band, is there? I can tell this by you.
I hope so.
It's
Yeah.
not. There's nothing going to stop it, is there?
No.
Like even like alcohol. That
Yeah.
that's a massive decision to make. If you felt like it was hindering your chances of the band making it, and you've made that big decision now just to knock it on the head for a bit or
No,
whatever,
of course,
it's
because in
massive.
October we did a Spanish tour and we had a really insane experience, let's call it. So the last show, I was not able to do it. I did it, but it was not me. It was just me on stage praying for the show to finish, not moving.
Yeah.
Like, it was not me. Like, I was losing my thing inside.
Uh,
And sometimes, yeah, I
was that
was
the
having
last time you had a drink? Then was that the last time you had a drink? You didn't feel like you was really.
no. Then I had few more, but then I realized, like, mate,
Yeah.
I mean, you need to be full on. You need to be 100% energy, and you need to really make it. So I was realizing, like, it was not a good thing what was happening. So I just stopped it.
Yeah, nice one. So you mentioned Alan McGee earlier. Do you work with him?
Yeah, he's our manager.
Alan McGee is your manager, right? I've missed
Yeah,
that completely from my research of you. So
yeah,
I've had Alan on the podcast before.
nice.
And just what a wealth of knowledge, and just to see how passionate he is still about new
Yeah,
bands coming through is just mental with his history and that
yeah,
kind of stuff in it. So how did that come about? Getting signed by Alan.
yeah. So, well, as I said, like, it was my kind of teenager dream. Like, I was saying, man, we go to London, we make
Yeah.
a band. Alan McKee's gonna love this, and he's gonna be our manager. And when lockdown was finishing, we
Yeah.
didn't have a manager, and I was again in one of these frustrating, crazy things. Like, man, we need a manager, otherwise we're fucked up. Where are we going? We don't have manager. And Francesco was working. He's working at Borough Market, and he called me one morning and said, "Javier, I think I just saw Alan McKee passing by." And I was like, "No way." So and then 2 days after, he saw him again because he lives in London Bridge, close to the market. So he just started like following him, kind of in a maniac way.
Yeah.
And somehow when Francesco told Maki that our music was produced by youth,
Yeah.
so Maki said, "Okay, I'm gonna listen to it." So he listened to the music and he loved the music.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Okay, this is cool." We were over the moon. Like, look, man, he replied. He's interested. We could. Wow, it was like a massive moment. So he came to see us to one of these social distance shows
Yeah.
at the Windmill in Brixton, and he left on the third song.
Okay.
And we were like, and then the day after, he sent a message to Francesco saying, "Look, man, like, I really like the band. Like, about me, he was selling brilliant things. Like, the frontman is a fucking rock star, blah, blah. But I don't think I'm gonna make it for this, for that." And we were like, man, the train passed and we missed it. Like we're fucked up. And we didn't give up. Like we were for 6 months just following him, like telling him, like, man, come on, come on, come on. At some point we did one of these the digital shows that you were doing on lockdown.
Yeah.
So we did one of those. We sent him the link and we prepared a really mad performance, a really pro, like if we were playing Wembley, and we sent him the link and he watched it and then he called us and said, okay, man, like this was fucking brilliant. I love this. Let's fucking do it.
What changes did you make to the band after your first play to Alan? To what kind
But
of?
I think basically, it's not that change. It's like we knew he came, we knew he liked the music, we knew he left on the third song. So just ourselves, we told each other, okay, we need to make it better. So in 3 weeks, we managed to make it better, obsessed, rehearsing, preparing a really cool performance. We knew the performance had to be better than the one he came and left. So that's what we did. We did a really brilliant thing. And we were really lucky that he said yes to watch it.
So you can calm him down. And what's the best bit of advice that he's given you?
Fake it till you make it.
Mate, I do that every day with RGM. People always ask me, how did you start a magazine? First, I never set off to start doing a music magazine ever. It kind of organically turned into this thing that I've ended up doing and love. So I just lately, just in the last month or so, I've been having quite a lot of imposter syndrome a lot, and just thinking, it's all just going to end tomorrow anyway, so why give a shit? But it keeps on rolling, it keeps going, and I suppose mentally it's a big drain on you, because I work full time, I do the magazine, I do other stuff as well, and you've got to have that drive and love in you, and to understand and appreciate faking it till you're making it. It's what everybody goes through as well, I suppose.
Yeah,
I think
Alan says, like, when he was 25 years old, he was managing the Mary Chains, and he didn't have a clue of what to do, but he was going there saying, I'm the best manager, and then he became the best manager, he changed music history. So it's about, and I think my story is kind of the same, like, when I was a kid and I started with this fucking thing about being a rock star, I was like, I was telling everyone I'm a rock star, and I was believing in it. And I came here not speaking English, as I said, but you just do it,
Yeah, no, I love it. And so you progressed to, how did you find out you're going to be on telly and that then for Soccer AM? How did you hear about that?
Well, I was in Morocco now in January, and Alan called me. Yeah. And he told me, I got you on TV. And I was like, no way. And he was, next Saturday. Wow, we were like, wow, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Are you into football anyway? Are you aware of the show and the history of the program?
I'm not a big football.
No.
Never been.
Yeah.
But Juan Carlos, the other guy, the guitar player, he's been always a big Real Madrid supporter, and he's been playing football in our hometown.
Yeah.
So he was more into it. But me personally, no, I've never been into football much.
So how did you find the experience of being around the big characters that are on that show?
Super nice, and all of them were so lovely, and they treated us so good to all of us. And that was helping a lot, because in the beginning I was there as I said, I was having a bit of a weak time since I had all this bad time in December and all that. So I was a bit fragile. I was going there a bit like, wow, what the fuck's going on here? Like, come on. But then it was really natural. Like, they were really nice to us. The audience as well, they were really into it. And it was just so quick. We were just playing one track and done. It was really early. Like, we went there at 6 a.m. And you have to get ready. You start feeling a bit anxious, like, wow, TV. But then you just go and do it. You forget about everything. And then when you finish, you laugh about the nervous before. And you were like, come on, man. You did it, and you did great, Like.
Any funny stories or experiences from, like, having that new pressure in your life?
No, I mean, well, when
You had a cheeky little squint to your eye then. There's something in there. Go on, mate. You had a cheeky look on your face then.
when we play the penalties,
Yeah.
well, that was so ridiculous. Like I missed the ball. Like they throw me the ball, I missed it. All of us, like we were like, so wow, come on, man. Like what the fuck? I think Francesco, Simon were the only ones who actually hit the ball. But yeah, the rest of us were like totally so shit. Like yeah, but we managed to do it.
No, I can imagine, mate. It's all good. It's all good. So, like, so now you've been on the telly. Where do you go next? I know you've got the tour coming up. This podcast is going to be out after the tour, but we'll be sharing it on RGM before you go on the road. How do you prepare for life on the road? Because I see you're coming to. I put gigs on at the Castle in Manchester, and I see you're finishing there next.
Yeah, are you gonna come to the show?
Yeah, it's 19th, isn't it?
Yeah, Sunday.
I'm coming.
Amazing.
Yeah,
great.
I'll come and say hello. Yeah. So, yeah. Unfortunately, this podcast is going to be out after it, so we'll talk. So we'll just pretend it was amazing because we're going out after anyway, because it will be. But how do you guys prepare for a tour?
So, well, now we are rehearsing mainly every day, getting a really cool set ready. Sadly, we wanted to prepare t-shirts, and some of our fans are just gonna hate us because we never bring t-shirts on tour, and they were telling us you bring for this time, and we were promising we were gonna bring the t-shirts, but sadly we didn't manage to make some t-shirts.
Yeah.
But we got a really cool vinyl to sell, 7-inch vinyl with Mirra Mirra and King of the Disco, another track, and yeah, we're just focusing on preparing a really tight and cool set, with all the songs making sense one after the other. And then after the tour, I guess we will go on studio and record some more songs. We got already a few Gulp festivals confirmed for this summer. They haven't been announced yet. But yeah, that's the vibe. And see, sometimes like it's like the TV thing, like all these things happen when it's not planned. Like we just got a call a few days before, and they tell you, okay, you're gonna join on tour, I don't know, Ash, or you're gonna go on TV, or
yeah.
Like in May we went to LA to record, and that was as well like a few weeks before. Okay, now we're gonna go to LA to record. So it's just waiting for the good calls.
I can imagine, yeah. I bet you're just looking at your phone all the time, aren't you? Just ring you bastard.
Yeah. Like last year, I remember I did New Year's in Canary Island.
Yeah.
And when I came here, I was at the airport on the 5th of January, and Alan called me, you joining Calvarat for tour next week. I was like, well, yeah. Well, I wait to start the year, you know. So yeah, it's like waiting for the calls.
Yeah, no, I love it, mate. So the biggest thing that I like to discuss on this podcast, and people hear me bang on about it all the time, is the journey of a band. And I've really enjoyed getting to know you guys, and getting to know a bit more about your history and that kind of stuff, and just how enthusiastic about it is. One thing that always shines out about bands that make it, that I've seen over the years, is the passion and the enthusiasm for it all. And
yeah,
you've got that in spades, mate. So it's got to happen. It's just going to grow from here, isn't it, mate?
Thanks for believing in it.
You're welcome, mate. So is there anything that you'd like to share with the fans of the Gulps, or new fans of the Gulps that might be watching this?
Just please check out our music, and we need lots of your support. And yeah, without the love of people, we won't get anywhere.
Yeah, well, we'll put a link to all your tunes and everything in this podcast in the description, so people can have a catch the lads. I'm going to come see you in Manchester. I'm going to...
Thank you, Carl. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
You're welcome, mate. So have you got much on for the rest of today?
Today, yeah, I work at the pub, double.
Oh, back at the pub. Yeah, fair enough.
Too close.
Isn't it madness though? You're working in a pub still, but you might get a phone call and you're recording in LA soon.
Yeah, I know.
It's life, isn't it?
I know. It's funny. Yeah.
You talk to people in the pub, like when you're working and that. Say, I've just got a phone call. I'm recording.
Yeah, I called the other day. My manager. I told her I cannot work on Saturday. I'm on TV.
I presume they're really supportive of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. They are amazing. They flexible with my sometimes I'm scared they're gonna tell me to fuck off, but no, they don't. Like yeah. So that's also a good support.
Well, I think I'll know what you'd do if they ever said no to an opportunity for you. I think you'd be straight out the door anyway, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. They know that.
I know, yeah. Thanks, Javier. So yeah, really enjoyed seeing you, mate. Guys, invest in the band. Check out the Gulps. Javier, really appreciate your time, mate. Thank you.
Ciao, brother. Thank you.